Oh, this time the quick speed shop, check it out, bam! We're doing Dodge truck stuff. I'm going to start stripping out my parts chassis for my 1980 Dodge build. I just wanted to take a second. If you guys like the content here at Quick Speed Shop, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down in the comments there, bleep bloop it, as Derek would say. And I respond to all the comments I can, which is pretty much all of them. And give a like, and I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot to make cool content like this Dodge build. So let's get into stripping this thing down. Hey, bam, look at that Dodge chassis in the garage. Here we go. So today I want to take the all the drivetrain out here. We got the 362 barrel, 727 203 cast iron transfer case. So I want to get the drive shaft out and all this off, the core support off, the fender well off, get this thing stripped down to start working. I took the fuel tank out. Check this out. Here where the fuel tank was, I had one good strap left, but I've got some rot in the frame. This was right full of dirt up to here, and the frame is a little thin on this side. And then back here in the dog leg, it's real thin. I got a couple of pinholes back here. I thought this frame was extremely mint, but I got a little bad spot. So in the future, we're going to be cutting the bottom of this rail out. I'm going to split it in half and make a new bottom section up into the dog leg. I'll take the spring hanger off and all this stuff off, and weld in a new bottom section. I'll fab out of some channel steel. Then I'll plate it on the inside, and it'll repair this one little soft spot. The only other spot that's questionable is around the spring hangers in the back. It's pitted here. I'm going to drill the rivets out, get these off. I'll probably just plate this on the outside and bolt these back on some grade 8 hardware just to beef that up. But the rest of the chassis is super mint. Believe it or not, I had the air cleaner on it, and it had the air element in it, but it must not have sealed tight to the lid, or the element's too short. There was a mouse nest on top of the carburetor, in the carburetor. I cleaned it out. I don't see any damage really in the carburetor. It's a Holley 2-barrel. This is a 360 2-barrel, but as you can see, when I ran it in the Will It Start video, it was extremely loud because, check this out, the top of the manifold blew right off. Boom! Blew right off the whole top of the manifold, so I had a wide open cylinder. The rest of this manifold has got one bolt holding it on right there. These studs are rusted off. It's super scaly. The engine does run though. It's a 75 362 barrel. So it'll be a good engine to candidate to have for a running Dodge engine, or to rebuild it, because it did smoke a lot, but it's sat for a long time. So the radiator is junk. I'm going to get rid of that. The core support's got to come off. All this stuff. Let's get this chassis stripped down for action. Okay, I got the core support off obviously in the radiator, and now I can take a look at the chassis. This is a 75, so it's got the Saginaw GM box mounted on its side, to the side of the frame, and then it drag links to the Dana 44 front axle. Got our 360 here. I think there's a lot of grunge and crap in this steering box bracket. the top of the aluminum actually is corroded pretty good on it, but it's not leaking. And the box in the 80 truck is also Saginaw, but they mount it differently, and it steers off the bottom instead off, or the pitman arms on the bottom instead off the side like this. I think I'm going to leave this like this is with the bracket. And this box isn't leaking. The other box is leaking quite a bit, so I'm going to just leave this like this is here. Before we go too far, I'm going to pull this off the frame. Probably unbolt it right from the knuckle and the axle. Take the whole thing off in one piece with the power steering pump, which is up top here, so I can drain the fluid out, not have it leak everywhere. There's another power steering pump. Well, I call it power steering. Another hydraulic pump down here. This is the pump that runs the hydraulic Meyer plow. I have a reservoir here and the control valve body. I've got to drain the reservoir out because that's full of transmission fluid, and then the pump can come off of here. We got idler. The power steering belt is missing for some reason. It was, how did this run? I don't even see how this ran. We don't have enough pulleys. Wait a minute. Somebody, oh, okay, yeah. There was a belt that went around the outside of the crank, and then it went around this idler, and then hit the power steering pump up here. That's missing, obviously. It's got a 3-groove pulley down here. So the back pulley is the alternator, and the middle one is the plow pump, and then the outer one was the power steering pump. But, yeah, got some training lines here. This used to have a cooler, which I took out, that was leaking, so these are just looped together. I actually looped these together because they were all ripped off when I got it, when I ran it. It's actually been quite a couple hours since the little time lapse there, because I got down a rabbit's hole of suspension. I was looking at this truck. This truck's got 2 different front leaf springs in it. It's got the bigger 1,900 pound 6 leaf, or what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaf. Well, 6 on this side. I think it's only 5 on this side. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So somebody along the way has changed a leaf in this, and I'm not sure which one. I don't know if it's this one or that. That one looks newer. Oh, this one's got a double spring wrap. That's wrap die. That was only a single one. And both front leaf springs are concaving because of the weight of the plow. This side's actually got a, let me show you. This side actually has some kind of broken leaf spring cobbled in there. This is the top spring plate. This eyelet would be if this truck had a sway bar, which it doesn't. So I went down a suspension rabbit hole looking at leaf springs, and the back springs are okay-ish, but they're rusty, and who knows how much weight they've had on them. Back here they've got the overloads, which somebody added, and they came off a different truck because the end's been torched off to hit the brackets. So somebody added these overloads. The rear shackles are missing. They must have rotted out. Somebody just bolted the spring right through here. They torched the clearance bracket hole in the spring hanger and then just bolted the spring. So the rear suspension doesn't work at all. But I don't know. These springs are super long. They got blocks, then springs. It's 5 leaf springs plus the 6 leaves in the overloader. So what I did is I was looking around and I found a company in Kansas City that had stock style springs, and they had the 6 leaves for the 1,900 pound front springs, and then they had a whole bunch of choices of rear leaves, and I spec'd out new 6 leaf front springs and then some 7 leaf back springs. And I was going to put new hangers, new springs, I got the 5/8 eyelet ones, and I was going to put the overloader back on. Ordered new U-bolts, put it all together. It was like $700, which was real reasonable, I thought, for 4 springs. I go to click to buy it, and the shipping was like another $300, so it was like $1,000. I was like, whoa, bro, hold on a minute. So then I went over to Rough Country. Rough Country's got a 4-inch suspension lift. I actually saw Dylan McCool install one on his 78 Trail Duster on his YouTube channel. So I watched the video on that again. It looks like the front springs on the Rough Country are 6 leaf springs, and then the rear looks like it's 6. But they got a big arch to the rear spring, so I can get rid of the blocks. This thing's got 4-inch blocks in the back. So the new springs would get rid of the blocks. I'd get new front springs that aren't concave like these are getting. And the rough country kit for this truck is $950. Free shipping. You also get the U-bolts and you get 4 new shocks, which if I just bought the springs from the other place, I'd have to spend another, $100 and something on shocks for this thing because it needs long shocks. So I think I'm going to put a 4-inch lift in it. It's cheaper in the long run of free shipping to put the 4-inch lift in it and put the truck up in the air a little bit. I'll put on some 33-inch tires. It'll be super cool, and it actually will help with a snowplow because the snowplow bracket hangs so low in the front of the truck that with the stock suspension, you've only got about 12 inches of ground clearance in the front with the plow bracket. It's super, super low. So another 4 inches will pick that up. That'll actually help out. And there's nothing cooler than an old 70s truck up in the air. So I think that's what I'm going to do is get the rough country kit. That'll be in a future video. And we'll put a 4-inch lift in this thing. Well, it's many hours later. Haven't got the engine out. It turned into a really nice day today, and I had a ton of crap I had to put away out back everywhere. Everything was a disaster, so I spent all day out in the nice sunshine putting things away, getting ready for winter, because it's coming. It's going to be like in the 30s this week at night. It's ridiculous already. I want my summer back. Anyways, so I had the steering box off now down here. Look how corroded that aluminum top is from that thing laying sideways. I'm just being full of garbage. Can't believe it's not leaking. That's ate away really bad. Really bad. But I wanted to get in here. There's some pitting on the frame. I wanted to get in there and be able to clean behind that, needle scale that, and get that going. I found I had this stuff from Eastwood I bought a while ago. Check this out. Fast Etch. It's like an acid and it leaves like a zinc coating. So I'm going to needle scale and SCT this whole frame with the SCT thingamajig sander deal, and we'll do a tool review on that when we do it. But I want to clean the whole frame up with that, and then use this stuff as Fast Etch to put like the zinc coating on it, then use the Eastwood Rust Encapsulator Platinum, or not Platinum, Plus to paint it. Oh, also check this out. I got on the front axle, and I found the tag on the front, so I marked the rear axle too. This truck's got 410 gears. The front's actually 409. For whatever reason, it's 45 on the ring gear and 11 on the pinion. And this Dana 60 is probably a 410. 409 and 410. That's close enough for what you're doing. So that's cool. I got a set of 410 Dana axles, the 44 front and the 60 rear. I don't really want to run 410s in this truck because there's no overdrive, and it's going to have like 33-inch tires now that I'm going to do this lifted leaf springs. But 410 is still a lot of gear winding down the highway, and it's got the granny low 4-speed tranny, so I'll have the steep first gear to pull stuff, so I really don't need the 410s to get rolling. I'll have the steep first gear, so I'd rather not scream it on the highway. I'm going to swap in my front axle out of the brown truck. That's a 355 or 354 gear, 354 I believe. And I have the Dana 60 that's in the back of that truck. The tubes are real pitted because it's real scaly. But I have a Ford Sterling 10 1/4 rear end out of like an 88 or 89 F350. And that's got 355s. So I'm going to swap in the Sterling rear. So I have the Dana 44 front and the 10 1/4 Sterling rear. And that's got the more modern style brakes with the full floater axle sticking all the way out, which the 60's full floater, but the Sterling's got even a bigger full floater, and the drums slip over the axles, so you can take the drums off without pulling the axles out. Because on a Dana 60, an older one like this, here it's got the smaller stub out, and the drums are actually behind the piece here, so you need to take the axle out and take that all apart to get the drums off. So I'll use the Sterling rear with a more modern style brakes. It'll have 12x3, I believe, brakes on the back of it, which are pretty big, and that'll help this thing stop good. Oh, and also I found I'm taking off the homemade bumper. I found I had a Ford Super Duty receiver hitch off like a 2010 or whatever Super Duty. It's in pretty decent shape. And it's the right width to bolt onto the bottom of the frame. So this is a pretty good one. It's not the 2 5/16, it's just a 2-inch, but it's super beefy here. It's probably like a 10,000 pound receiver hitch, which is plenty. So I'm going to use that. And I also found I parted out a Ram Charger, like an 85 or 6 Ram Charger, something like that, years ago, and I saved the gas tank because it's plastic. And I'm going to use the Ram Charger gas tank back here. All this will get cut out, this homemade bumper. I'm going to remove this piece, and the Ram Charger gas tank will go in the back of the truck, and that'll get rid of the saddle tank, so I can run dual exhaust right inside the frame instead of like the Dodges. You got to kick it over if you run the saddle tank on the trucks. You got to kick the exhaust both off to the passenger side and then cross back over if you want to go out the back or run them both out the side. But with the saddle tank removed and using the Ram Charger tank in the back, I'll be able to run dual exhaust right down around the 4-speed. This is not the 4-speed obviously, but around the 4-speed I can run dual exhaust here. Then I can come out probably in front of the rear wheels. I think I'm just going to run glass packs on the truck and 90 out in front of the wheels on both sides. So you can see how the passenger pipe goes right now. It goes around, and this truck's a 75, so it doesn't have a catalytic converter. But the 80 truck is supposed to have cats, so I'll probably get some small bullet aftermarket style like Flowmaster cats, and I'm going to have headers. I'll probably put one little cat here and one little cat here, then run some straight pipe, around, and straight pipe and glass packs and out the back. So Flowmaster makes these little converters that are like 8 inches long, and they're like 75 bucks a piece. So I'll put twin little converters on the front and then glass packs. It's getting late here. I got to go to work tomorrow, but I'm probably going to just clean up the mess because I got stuff everywhere to clean things up here. But next time I'll have the motor, transmission, transfer case out, the drive shafts out, and then we can start probably start fixing the frame over here where the frame is bad. Let's see if I can show you. See, it's pitted. All this was half full. This frame was half full of garbage, and it pitted the frame. It rotted the bracket off here on the bottom, and it actually back here in the kick-up, it's actually got a couple of pinholes down here. So this is pretty soft here. The other side's not bad. It's still full strength. The bracket is rusted, but it's still good there. So gonna fix this side. I'll probably end up gusseting both sides of the frame just because of the weight of the dump box and all that. Since I'm gonna use the heavy duty dump box on here, I'll probably gusset both the same to match. You can never have too much frame in your truck, so I'll do that, and then we'll order up the new suspension and get this painted up and fixed, and put the roller together with the put it together. I'm gonna have to pull the brown truck apart now that I think about it to get the axle out of the front and do some other stuff. But we'll finish putting the engine together, which is over there under plastic. We'll finish putting the engine together, paint that, paint the chassis, get the springs in it, and shocks and stuff, and slap in the Sterling rear end, put in the correct front end, and then we'll have pretty much a roller. There's a lot going on here with the 80 Dodge project. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Bam, here at the shop, working on rusty Dodges at the Quick Speed Shop. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home.